sorry for starting here in Sherry due to some technical issues beyond our control. And straight to the news, President Bola Tinubu has taken a firm stand against the unjust stereotyping of Nigerians as inherently corrupt. He expressed the view at a forum with the theme, Public Engagement on Youth, Religion and the Fight Against Corruption, organized by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, in Abuja. And Fraud Risk Assessment Project for MDAs. Tinubu, who was represented by Vice President Kashim Shettima, commended the EFCC for serving as a moral compass and persistently awakening the nation's conscience. He played the unfairness of labeling all Nigerians corrupt based on the actions of a few, stressing that the country was home to diligent and honest people. In clear terms, the president rejected the blanket mislabeling that taints the reputation of majority of Nigerian citizens. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has congratulated Alhaji Aliko Dangote, President and Chief Executive Officer of Dangote Group, on the award of the National Order of the Lion by President Macky Sall of Senegal. The president, in a statement by his spokesman, Chief Ajurin Galale, applauded the industrialists for peace, enterprise, and ingenuity, creating jobs and opportunities for many in Nigeria and across West Africa, as well as contributing to their economies. President Tinubu also wished him the very best in his endeavors. The federal government has warned states and local government to stay clear of the collection of royalties and taxes from licensed miners operating in their domains. The Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dele Alake, who gave the warning in Kaduna, also said miners and operators owe the federal government more than 2 trillion naira, calling on them to pay the debt. He stressed that operators must monthly pay royalties and taxes to the federal government, adding that the administration of President Bola Tinubu was determined to halt the activities of illegal miners across the country. We'll now go for a quick break. After the break, the news continues. Stay with us. Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to Midday News on Global Television. We are live in the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Anthony Momodu. We're deeply sorry for starting the news behind schedule due to some technical issues beyond our control. President Bola Tinubu has taken a firm stand against the unjust stereotyping of Nigerians as inherently corrupt. He expressed the view at a forum with the theme, Public Engagement on Youth, Religion and Fight Against Corruption, organized by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, in Abuja. The event also marked the launch of Interfaith Manual and Fraud Risk Assessment Project for MDAs. Tinubu, who was represented by Vice President Kashim Shettima, commended the EFCC for serving as a moral compass and persistently awakening the nation's conscience. He flagged the unfairness of labeling all Nigerians corrupt based on the actions of a few, stressing that the country was home to diligent and honest people. In clear terms, the president rejected the blanket mislabeling that taints the reputation of majority of Nigerian citizens. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has congratulated Alhaji Aliko Dangote, President and Chief Executive Officer of Dangote Group, on the award of the National Order of the Lion by President Macky Sall of Senegal. The president, in a statement by his spokesman, Chief Ajurin Galale, applauded the industrialist for his enterprise and ingenuity, creating jobs and opportunities for many in Nigeria and across West Africa, as well as contributing to their economies. President Tinubu also wished him the very best in his endeavors. The federal government has warned states and local governments to steer clear of the collection of royalties and taxes from licensed miners operating in their domains. The Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dele Alake, who gave the warning in Kaduna, also said miners and operators owe the federal government more than 2 trillion naira, calling on them to pay the debt. He stressed that operators must monthly pay royalties and taxes to the federal government, adding that the administration of President Bola Tinubu was determined to halt the activities of illegal miners across the country. The Inspector General of Police, Olukayode Egbetukun, has ordered the restriction of all forms of vehicular movement on roads, waterways, airspaces, and other forms of transportation from 12 a.m. to 6 p.m. in the 26 states where the Independent National Electoral Commission will be holding by-elections on Saturday. This was as he warned troublemakers to stay away from the exercise. The IG said the restriction order would not affect persons of essential duties such as INEC officials, electoral observers, accredited journalists and observers, both foreign and domestic. The restriction order would also not affect drivers of ambulances responding to medical emergencies and firefighters, amongst others. The stage is set for tomorrow's by-elections into the Senate, House of Representatives, and House of Assembly seats across 26 states. Already, sensitive materials have been distributed to the affected polling districts and constituencies by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. However, the commission said the People's Democratic Party, PDP, will not participate in the election in Plateau North Senatorial District and Jos North and Basa Federal Constituency based on the judgment of the Court of Appeal. The court had nullified the victory of the PDP House of Assembly members in the state, following the party's failure to conduct its congresses according to laid-down rules. And still in the news, the Minister of Power, Bayo Adelabu, has listed unpaid debts and low gas supply as some of the reasons for the inability of power plants to operate to capacity. Adelabu stated this when he visited the Oloroshogu power plant in Papalanto, Ogun State, and the Omotosho power plant in Ondo State. The two government power plants being managed by the Niger Delta Power Holding Company was inspected by the minister, who said the tour was part of his nationwide visit to power installations of the federal government to inspect and monitor the physical state and the operational state of these power plants. The Minister of Environment, Malam Balarabe Lawal, says the federal government will procure more arms for effective operations of the National Park Service. The minister disclosed this when he paid an official visit to the headquarters of the NPS and the National Biosafety Management Agency, NBMA, in Abuja. The minister disclosed that there is an ongoing collaboration with relevant agencies to clean the forest of bandits, illegal miners, and the coastal areas where oil theft take place. The minister charged the NBMA to be more proactive in its approaches and to engage more in research to curb the inflow of unwanted genetically modified foods. Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Henneken Lukubiri, has confirmed the negotiations are on to finally end the disputes surrounding OML 245 for the block to resume production in the national interest. Lukubiri disclosed this in Abuja as he revealed that parties in the deal are currently negotiating to end their over 28 years crisis and litigation surrounding the prolific oil block in the next 1 month. Kikelomo Okere has the rest of the story.
In the light of recent discussion and misconceptions surrounding the resolution of issues surrounding OML 245, the Minister of State for Petroleum has offered clarity and dispel any misinformation that might have risen. It says the OML 245 is a significant oil block within the nation's territory, which has been subject to various litigation and discussions across different jurisdictions. It says the core issue resolved around the agreement between the federal government, Shell and ENI, wherein the federal government facilitated the transfer of rights from Malabo to Shell ENI in exchange for consideration. This process was conducted transparently in accordance with established legal frameworks.
And this block has been like that.
The minister reveals that throughout the legal proceedings, there has been no evidence indicating any criminal liability on the part of the federal government or any involved parties. All legal battles across multiple courts have concluded with outcome affirming the absence of criminal wrongdoing.
And so when they say I mounted pressure, I didn't mount pressure on anybody, but it is important that we resolve the problems. What is the problem among the parties about OML 245? We took ENI and other people, including Malabo and others, to courts in different countries. Like I said earlier, in Canada, in Milan, in the UK, in Switzerland. We lost all because there's no evidence to prove any case of corruption. And this block has been like that for the past 28 years. All of us, I'm sure, graduated before we're 28. So how can you have one block that could actually change the life of Nigerians? A very prolific block. That has been tied down for 28 years. What are the issues? Even if we continue with all the cases, the ones you had no evidence. And so you lost all. And all these things happened within the last administration. And even if you guys get hold of, the book written by Malami, he himself said we were wrong. The idea of taking these things to different courts was wrong, but there's no evidence. Even the ones here, no evidence. So what we're trying to do is to see how we can discuss, resolve all the issues, so that all matters could be resolved, so that we can get the investment in Nigeria.
On the complexity surrounding the OML 245, the minister says President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has demonstrated astute leadership by directing efforts towards resolving the lingering issue. Meetings and discussions have been convened with stakeholders from various countries, including Netherlands, the UK, and Milan, to explore avenues for an amicable resolution. With just a 5% reserve investment ratio in the oil sector, which is the lowest globally in the last 5 years, the minister says there is an urgent need to boost the investment in the sector to avert an imminent economic crisis.
If you go to Brazil, it's 115%. If you go to Mozambique in Africa, it's 92%. If you go to Angola, it's 46%. If you come to Nigeria, 5%. If we do not do whatever we can to attract investments, the crude oil deficit we have here will be a souvenir not seen by you and I, that will translate to nothing in the next few years. And so my responsibility is to ensure that we do whatever we can, resolve whatever problems we have in the industry, so that we can attract sufficient investment to change the narrative. If we resolve the issues around OML 245, it will attract investment between $5 to $10 billion. It will change the story. So anytime somebody wants to invest, when we go for canvas, when we go to canvas for investment, people will say, oh, Nigeria is not attracting investment. This is psychology.
It further stressed that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's interest lies on the transformation of the vast natural resources into prosperity for the nation. It therefore urged citizens to remain patriotic and continue to build faith in the renewed Hope administration, as the President has supported the resolution of all issues around OML 245. Kike Lomo Okeri, Global Television News.
The Nigerian Union of Journalists, NUJ, has commended Governor Maimala Buni of Yobe State for establishing 140 primary healthcare centers across the state. The NUJ chairman, Yobe State Council, Comrade Rajab Mohammed Ismail, gave the commendation while briefing newsmen in Damaturu after a media tour across the state. He said the tour afforded the NUJ members the opportunity to see efforts of the state and local government councils towards improving the lives of the people in health, education, infrastructure, and job creation. According to him, 140 primary healthcare centers established by Buni's administration have truly brought effective and efficient healthcare services to the people, especially those at the grassroots. He added that the border communities have been saved from the trouble of traveling to seek medical services, as many residents have stopped going to Niger Republic to seek health care. He, however, called on the state government to tackle the issue of water scarcity in Damaturu City and its environs. Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Mohammed Ali Patey, has expressed the federal government's commitment to promoting a life-saving initiative intended to improve quality maternal health outcomes. The minister, who disclosed this at a press briefing in Abuja, said based on the 2020 World Health Organization WHO recommendations on antenatal care for a positive pregnancy experience, the federal government has adopted the use of multiple micronutrient supplement, MMS, during pregnancy to improve maternal health. Represented by the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, Daju Kachalom, the minister said the inclusion of MMS for pregnant women in the National Guideline for the Prevention and Control of Micronutrient Deficiencies Control in Nigeria is geared towards improving pregnancy outcomes compared to iron folic acid supplements. The number of new cancer cases will rise to more than 35 million in 2050, 77% higher than figure in 2022, the World Health Organization Cancer Agency warned Thursday. The WHO International Agency for Research on Cancer, IARC, cited tobacco, alcohol, obesity, and air pollution as key factors in the estimated rise. Over 35 million new cases are predicted in 2050, a statement said, a 77% increase from some 20 million cases diagnosed in 2022. The rapidly growing cancer burden reflects both population aging and growth, as well as changes to people's exposure to risk factors, several of which are associated with socio-economic development. UNICEF has said it is set to dole out the needed technical support and policy framework that would help address poverty and revamp the social protection system in Abia State. The intervention is in collaboration with the European Union and the International Labour Organization, ILO. UNICEF expressed concern over the growing poverty rate in the country, stressed the need for homegrown solution in addressing the menace. Social policy specialist UNICEF Nigeria Abuja, Shegun Tekun, stated this when a delegation from UNICEF, EU, and ILO met with Governor Alex Oti in Abia, as UNICEF pledged support for the state government by putting in place policies and legislative framework that would help address poverty and improve social protection. The Anambra State government has banned the public display of caskets for fabrication and sale in the state. This was contained in the law passed by the State House of Assembly on Thursday to control burial and funeral activities in the state. By this law, all mortuary attendants are to report to the Ministry of Health on any corpse that has stayed beyond 1 month from the date it was deposited. It warned that any person who contravenes the provisions will be fined 100,000 naira or 6 months imprisonment, or both. It further stipulated that all burial and funeral ceremonies of indigenous deceased persons
in the state shall be registered with the town union of the deceased. Also, the new law warned against blocking roads and streets during burial ceremonies. It advised that this can only be done with permission from the appropriate local government authority. After a prolonged land dispute which lasted 10 years, Governor Seyi Makinde-led administration has ordered the reopening of 23 schools in 4 local government areas of Oyo State. The reopening of the schools followed an intervention on Thursday by the Deputy Governor of the state, Barrister Bayo Lawal. The affected local government areas are Itiba, Efijio, Oyo East and Oyo West local government areas of the state. Barrister Lawal waded into the boundary crisis that culminated into a 10-year closure of the schools in the local government areas. The Deputy Governor equally stated that the Ministry of Education will oversee the schools after reopening. Governor Seyi Makinde of Oyo State has signed into law Executive Order 001, which deals with the handling and storage of harmful substances. Makinde said the order became imperative in the view of the January 16 explosion in the Bodija area of Ibadan due to the storage of explosives. He said such incident would not reoccur in the state with the new law in existence, saying that the law would take its full course on anyone who violates it. A copy of the executive order stated that henceforth there must be mandatory notification and comprehensive inventory of harmful articles or substances of any kind that can be detonated by pressure, heat, impact, trigger, fuse, or proximity timing device, and others. The Nigerian Army and the International Committee of the Red Cross have resolved to strengthen partnerships in the areas of security and humanitarian assistance in troubled areas across the country. The partnership will also involve strengthening respect for international humanitarian laws to expand the frontiers of peace and stability in Nigeria. The commitment was reinforced when the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Turid Lagbaja, received the ICRC delegation in Nigeria, led by Yan Bonzo at the Army headquarters in Abuja. In its response, the COAS appreciated the ICRC for its commitment to the provision of humanitarian aid to improve the living conditions of victims of conflict. And that's how we call it a wrap on the Midday News. I am Anthony Mamodio. Good afternoon.